Is January 2026, the Workamping Q&A session. I'm Jody Anderson-Duquette, and I'm here with Workamper News. I myself have been part of the Workamping community for over 20 years now. Myself and my husband are the co-owners and operators of Workamper News. We are the third couple to be operating Workamper News. I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But my husband and myself, we've been RVing since we got our first RV in 2013, but we did have some rental RVs and stuff before then. So we've lived in a fifth wheel, Class C, and now we have just a travel trailer as we're not traveling as much. So we have full-time and part-time RV'd, so we're very familiar with the lifestyle experience. And the entire time that we have been doing all this RVing, we've been working and operating Workamper News. So we are technically work campers as well. I've worked a lot with work campers and employers, because here at Workamper News we assist both sides of the equation. So just learned a lot from you guys over the years and in the communications and meeting folks. So just want to let you know, we're going to go through your questions that you guys submitted. We had a lot of good questions come in from those who registered for the webinar, so I will go through those here in this PowerPoint and do my best to give you guys detailed answers to your questions, but also connect you with resources where you can, get more information. But if you're not familiar with Workamper News, I know some of you are and some of you aren't. We are the original entity that created the term work camping. That was back in 1987, and so we're the original resource, the largest resource. We're the only actual business entity in the industry that we started. We have an office in Central Arkansas and a couple staff folks that help us with answering phones, emails, processing job listings, things like that. So we are a professional membership organization. Of course, in the time since we started the community, other websites and Facebook groups have popped up. So there are certainly other resources online now for checking things out. And more so just hobbyists, folks who are in the lifestyle, that enjoy the lifestyle, wanting to, earn some money from sharing people's data or putting banners on their websites and stuff. So definitely lots of resources now online for you to connect with the work camping lifestyle and learn about it. But what we try to do here at Workamper News is kind of keep everything in one place, so you're not having to jump all around the internet to figure things out. We have the largest quantity and widest variety of job listings. We don't limit our resources to just campgrounds, because to us, work camping is doing any kind of work while living in an RV. So that really encompasses a lot of different business types and job positions, paid jobs, volunteer jobs, and kind of everything in between. And lots of small business folks too, operating small businesses on the road as they travel around. So with Workamper News, we have not only the job listings that our employer members run, but also tools to help you create a more established job finding process to make it easier to connect with opportunities that are right for you. Also, we have avenues where work campers can share reviews about employers that they've worked for, so that way when you're looking at a job listing on our system, you can click to go to that employer profile and look at any reviews that work campers have written. You don't have to go look at 7 other different Facebook groups to try to find that data. And then also education. We have a really robust knowledge base. We have a podcast and a blog, and we do these webinars and try to do as much as we can to help you guys understand how to live this lifestyle successfully. So we don't just want to give you the tools to make it happen, but we want you to know what to do, how to do it, and have confidence in moving forward in doing so. So kind of that's what we're all about here at Workamper News. So if you're not yet a member, you can go to workamper.com. That's our online home. We don't post job listings to social media or anything else. All of our stuff is kind of under one roof on our website, like I said, in our podcast. And I'll show you guys more about that here. This webinar isn't just going to be a commercial for Workamper News. I'm going to show you guys a lot of stuff on our website and some of our resources to help answer some of the questions. But I promise we will dig in and give you guys some good information here too. All right, so going forward here, all right, looks like all systems are go. Okay, so we had multiple people, they didn't really submit questions, more so statements, but I think I kind of know maybe what their question would be based around their statement. And these four were kind of similar, I thought. So the best way to get started, another person said, I really need some direction. Another person said, I'm interested in working for pay. And then another person said, my husband and I are interested in job opportunities. So I'm guessing this question here is, how do I find work camping jobs? And so we certainly have some articles and stuff that you can read through to go into more details. But initially, you need to first decide where you want to go, what you want to do, and what budget you have or need to have. And if you are going to be traveling with other humans, you'll want to make sure to confer with them, and you guys both kind of make your wants and needs lists and then come together and see what aligns and see maybe what compromises you need to make and kind of decide on a plan. So knowing where you want to go, if you need to take a job that provides you with wages, whether that's a lot of wages or a little wages, will kind of depend on your setup financially, of course. So knowing what you need is a really important basis to start from. And then also start just perusing the different opportunities that are out there to get an idea of what does exist and maybe what types of jobs you would be interested in and what jobs and duties you would never ever want to do. And so, you don't want to get into this and take jobs doing things that would make you unhappy. Most of the time, folks are transitioning into this lifestyle to try new things, explore new places. So it might, you might be like, okay, I'll give a hand at housekeeping at a resort or a lodge or something. But if like you really hate cleaning and you've never liked even cleaning your own house, like, yeah, it's good to try new things. But then at the same time, if you think you're going to be miserable, then let's not do that and let's find a different job that might be more appealing for you. So get an idea of what's out there. And of course, you can, go through our job listings, look at Facebook groups, things like that. And then start applying. And in that process, so most employers will want a resume, and your Workamper resume doesn't have to be as like robust and professional as maybe what you had in your career lifestyle. It can be a little more simple, and you want to try to think about the skills and experience that you have that would apply to the types of jobs that you're interested in trying out with your work camping lifestyle. So you don't necessarily need to, list all of your certifications and awards and, college degrees and things like that, unless they apply to the position that you're applying to. If you were, like a bank teller or something, then you obviously are good at money handling. So if you were interested in working a retail job, those kind of things would align. If you're a school teacher and you're interested in maybe doing activities, like directing activities at a campground or RV resort, that kind of experience would align. If you're a rocket scientist and you're interested in maybe just being a gate guard for one of the oil industry setups, then maybe that rocket scientist history won't necessarily come into play, because as a gate guard, you're just checking people in and out of that property and being kind of eyes and ears and security. So again, just thinking about what you've done in your life with your past jobs and how those things have given you skills that may apply to the positions. And then you can start developing your Workamper resume, and then you'll also want to start working on a list of questions that you'll want to ask to employers as you're communicating with them. So whether you are using our system or another avenue for connecting with employers, you will communicate with that employer directly. Workamper News, we're not an agency. Again, you and the employers do the chatting, and that's because we have a variety of different employers here that are members with us. Some of them are large entities and they have an online application process and they have an HR department, so people that you'll talk to specifically, all the way down to private property owners that are just looking for a work camper couple to come and stay on their property and help them with the maintenance of their multiple acre property. So there's such a variety in the employers. That's why we let the employers, they already have their own systems, whether they're that small mom and pop place or a large entity, they have their own path and procedures for doing their recruiting. So that's why the recruiting isn't done like specifically through our portal. If that makes sense. Anyway, hopefully it does. So anyway, so you'll put your resume together, which is kind of your little like marketing introductory piece. You'll, send that out to the employers that you're interested in working for, and then you'll start down the path of whatever their application recruiting process is. Hopefully you will do an interview with the employer. Often that's going to be done just phone call, or maybe like an online call with webcams, multiple avenues for doing that nowadays. So you want to make sure that you have questions that you want answered, so that way you're getting as much details as you can about that opportunity, so that way you can make the right decision for you, whether you think that will be a good fit for you or not. So it's always good to kind of have those questions written out, and we have articles and example questions that you can ask, so we can help you with that. And it's good to have them written out and prepared, because when you get on the phone with somebody, you could end up talking about, go off on tangents. Maybe you both like the same kind of dog, or you both been to the same, you spiral as we're chatting with folks. And so having them written down will help you make sure you're going through and getting, again, all that information that you need to understand if that opportunity is going to be right for you. Because initially, with job listings and stuff, some employers are really good at providing information, and other employers are really bad at providing much information about the opportunity. So you may need to do more legwork with some employers than with others to get that information that you need. So once you've gone through the communication process, with the employer, if you accept the position or don't accept the position, that's the choice that you and your traveling companions will need to make. And this may take place months in advance. So that's something to you guys to think about when you're just getting started. A lot of Workampers like to plan ahead, like 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, even 12 months in advance. And employers know that. So oftentimes they'll do their recruiting in advance as well. So just as an example, for positions that start in the summer, like April, May in the summer, those jobs started being advertised and recruiting for like the October, November before. And then when we get into January and February, the recruiting really ramps up for that summer season, because employers want to get folks, lined up in advance. So when you are ready to start, your first job finding process, you want to look at doing that maybe 6 months or more in advance. If you're going to be starting and looking for a fall winter job and starting in those months, I would definitely recommend, at least 10 months in advance. The fall winter gigs can be a little harder to find, especially if you're seeking an opportunity that provides wages in addition to an RV site, just because there's less stuff available that time of year. A lot of work camping jobs are in the outdoor hospitality industry overall, and the kind of upper half of the country, a lot of that stuff shuts down in the winter just because it gets so cold and snowy and stuff. So there are just less businesses open that hire work campers in the fall winter months. So for the positions for that time of year, you may have to kind of hustle a little bit more to find those opportunities and connect with those opportunities. So make sure you're getting your resume together and start looking through job listings, a year or at least maybe 10 months or so in advance, just to make sure you're kind of on the ball. And there is kind of some seasonality. A lot of work camping jobs do follow, the April, May through September, October summer season, and then the fall winter season are the other months around that, September, October through about March or April. And that's pretty typical. And the fall winter time, there are some kind of variety opportunities as well. Some work campers will break up that fall winter time into kind of 2 blocks. So there are some shorter term things like the sugar beet harvest, doing Christmas tree sales lots, pumpkin sales lots. There are other opportunities like with fulfillment centers that ramps up around Christmas time, of course. JCPenney's, Amazon, those kinds of places. They don't have specific work camper programs where maybe you'll get an RV site, but those are just entities that have seasonality, and so they look for more workers at that time, and other retail establishments too, around the Christmas holidays. And then as we move into January, February, March, that's when like the tax preparation services are really ramping up their business. And so we have quite a few Jackson Hewitts that hire work campers to help staff their kiosks in stores or physical Jackson Hewitt store locations that folks can go to. So there are some kind of more interesting opportunities like that take place in the fall, winter. So you can break that time frame up a little bit, but a lot of work campers too will just go south to like a nice RV resort or something and spend their winter season in the south where it's a little bit warmer. I mean, we're in Arkansas, kind of in the south, and it's snowy here, so it's not necessarily always warm in the south, but for the most part it is. So there is some seasonality to it, so I would recommend that you guys kind of plan ahead. And the job finding process is kind of year round. That's why we've always had yearly memberships. Work campers are always like, well, I don't need you all year. Once I find a job, I'm done, right? Well, not necessarily. If you do go ahead and line up your summer position, what are you going to do after that? You might as well keep your resume active, just update your resume to that next season and let your resume keep working for you. And there's no specific calendar. Like I can't give you guys a calendar to be like, okay, this employer recruits this time to this time and this employer this time to this time. So you kind of need to stay connected with the job listings year round, because you don't know when that perfect job opportunity is going to come through our hotline system, or that employer is going to be searching the resume database. We do have some employer members, they never advertise their jobs. All they do is go into our resume database, do some searches, and they're reaching out to work campers one by one that they think may be a match for them. So that's why we kind of recommended a two-pronged approach, where you guys are actively reviewing the opportunities that are being posted out there, and also making yourself available by having your work camper resume active in our database. And that way you're just, opening more doors and making sure that, you're opening yourself up to the most opportunities that are out there. So, all right, hopefully that kind of gets you, your feet wet in getting started with finding a job. It's not too complicated, but I know it might seem a little daunting at first, especially for those who are just new to the lifestyle. Maybe you haven't had to find a job in 20, 30 years. So I know it can be a little daunting, but I'll show you guys on the website too some resources where you can connect with a little more detailed info. Oh, and let me talk about too, because this person said they're interested in working for pay. So let's talk a little bit about compensation for work camping jobs. So there's a big range. So of course there are opportunities where the work camper just works in trade for an RV site, and usually there are hookups, maybe some other perks, discounts on stuff, or free uniforms, or free food, or something like that. So be sure to try and get the full details from the employer, as there may be some additional things other than the RV site that's provided. Oftentimes those are called volunteer jobs, but it's not always volunteer. If it's a for-profit entity, there are still some for-profit entities that do bartering for RV site. So yeah, so you can just work and trade for the RV site. Typically, that site is not considered income to you and is not reported income to you. So folks who are on Social Security, disability, some other programs like that, that may have an income limit requirement. Just working in trade for an RV site will, obviously help keep you under that income limit. And if you're, budgetarily sound and you do just want to work for your RV site, then it's typically less hours, and it's just, you're not having to fork out however much money to pay for an RV site in an area you want to be in. So it's a pretty cool deal. So as far as probably about 20–25% of the opportunities that we see coming through our job listings are just working in trade for an RV site. So there are more opportunities that provide some wages than not. So another setup might be where the work camper will work a certain number of hours a week or a month in trade for the RV site, and then any hours worked over that requirement would be paid an hourly wage. And in those scenarios, you want to make sure to clarify if the extra hours will be like guaranteed, or if the extra hours are kind of depending upon the business flow. Because especially, you know, with some entities, especially outdoor hospitality businesses, there will be times of the year where they are busier than others. Holiday weekends, you know, the first few months and the last few months of the season, etc. So if you do need to make sure you're earning a certain amount of income and you're looking at an opportunity where it's work some hours for a V site, work some hours for pay, you want to find out if those hours are guaranteed or not. That way you can decide if that'll work for you or not. Sometimes they are and sometimes they're not. Depends on the employer. And then there are opportunities where you are working and you'll be paid for every hour that you are worked, and you're being provided an RV site at no cost to you. There are other instances where you will be paid for every hour worked, but you pay for the RV site itself, and often that's not the full rate of the RV site, depends on the entity. But like, for example, concessionaires that operate in and around the national parks, Delaware North, Aramark, etc., they lease the RV sites from the National Park Service. So that's why work campers pay, and I think it's like $70 a week for a full hookup RV site inside of Yellowstone National Park. Like, that's a pretty sweet deal, considering you go right outside the park to a commercial campground and you're paying $70 a night, and that's probably a cheap site. Anyway, so concessionaires like that, you know, they just pass on a little bit of the cost that they have for leasing the RV sites onto the workers who are living at the RV sites. So there may be some scenarios like that. And other entities may do that as well. They're going to pay you for every hour worked, but you'll just, you know, pay some for your RV site. And again, whether that works for you or not is up to you and your budget. There are also opportunities where you may be working as a salaried person or contract independent contractor, and in that instance, you know, the employer and you should determine you know, what you're going to be paid, if it's going to be a monthly pay or maybe a contract base rate overall. And with those types of positions, you just want to be careful that the employer is following the guidelines of what an independent contractor is defined as versus like a W-2 employee, as the IRS has some different definitions for that. And we have an article about that too to help define that for you guys. But yeah, with an independent contractor, you should have a little more flexibility with how you're doing the job and when you get the job done versus working like set hours and having very set defined duties. So anyway, but independent contracting, basically operating as a small business entity, can provide some tax benefits for folks. So that may be an avenue that you want to go down, talk with your accountant, financial planner person to help you with that. We're not accountants here, so I don't have all of the ins and outs on that. Let's see what else. There are some commission-based positions, whether that's doing selling the advertising that goes in the campground maps. You know, when you guys check in at the campgrounds and they give you the map and there's ads for the local businesses and stuff, most likely a work camper was in that area and went to all those little businesses to sell those ads that are in that campground map. So that's a job that work campers can do. There's a couple entities that do that. So other commissions could be like we talked about, the Christmas tree and the pumpkin sales lots. Those you might earn some commission from sales on. Also, some of the bigger entities, like Thousand Trails is one of them. They'll hire RVers to work in their offices to sell, you know, Thousand Trails memberships and sell RV sites. So those may be commission-based as well. So yeah, quite a variety in the compensation types. So again, it's just coming back to figuring out what your needs are and then going after those opportunities that cover them. So hopefully that kind of gives you a little crash course there and just a little more details. Okay, we had some folks ask about like Workamper News Services itself. So let's dive in a little bit to that, and then we'll get into resumes and no work camping experience, pets, car camping, lots of other things to cover, guys. Okay, I'm going to switch over to my internet browser here in a minute, but the questions we're addressing, how do your resources work? And I'm pretty sure that person was probably asking, how do the tools of Workamper News work? Somebody else asked, how do you filter campers for employers? And again, we're not an agency. So when you become a Workamper member at Workamper News, there's no like questionnaire. We don't like evaluate you in any way. And the same when an employer joins. When an employer joins, we do like look into them and make sure like it looks like a legitimate business and we can verify their address and that it's a real human and stuff like that. So we do kind of that little piece. We have had some kind of spammer people like join our site and try to run ads like using a stolen credit card and stuff. But because we're here and we look at each employer account and we evaluate each ad before it's pushed out to you guys, that stuff got shut down before anybody ever saw it. So that's also one of the benefits of using our systems is that you have us, at least keeping an eye on things. And we're human, we're not perfect, but you know, especially on Facebook, social media world, bots and spammers and things, you don't know what's real and what's not real. So that just, you know, so I do caution you if you're communicating with people via social media, just try to do what you can to verify that it is legitimate before spending any money or traveling anywhere, things like that. So anyway, so we don't filter and we don't do the matchmaking ourselves. We provide tools. So you guys can search the job listings on certain criteria. Employers can search resumes on certain criteria to then hopefully more so find those matches, okay? And then the communication takes place again between the two parties to find out if you guys are a match or not. So we don't do the filtering or the placement ourselves. How often will employers contact us directly? There's no specific answer for that. I'm sorry, I don't know. It's going to depend on what you're looking for, where you want to go, what type of compensation you have, what kind of RV site you have, which employers are looking at which time. You know, like I said, it's kind of an ongoing process and just something that we recommend work campers and employers stay engaged in throughout the year, because you never know when the right work camper is going to be looking or when the right employer is going to be recruiting. So you just kind of have to stay connected. But as far as getting more views and contacts from your resume, there are certainly ways to kind of enhance your resume and try to make it stand out more. We can talk a little bit more about that too. And that hopefully will then drive more input to you. But you know, if you're a work camper and you're like, well, I want to be in 20 miles from this specific city and I have a 45-foot really cool school bus that I've converted and I'm traveling with 4 kids and 8 dogs. Like that's going to be a little harder to find a spot for. Not saying that it can't be done, but it's a situation like that is going to be a little more challenging, especially since your like location is more limited and you've kind of got a lot of bodies with you. And the same for you know, oh, I'm living in my sedan and I'm camping with a tent. Again, that's going to limit things a little bit too. So as far as how often employers will contact you, there's just so many variables out there for us to say. And then the last question here, do you have an app? We don't have an app in the sense where you go to like the phone app store and download an app, but our website has always and still does work on any device. So you just pull up your internet browser and go to workamper.com, log in, and all the tools will work right there on your smartphone or tablet. There are ways where you can, if you are viewing a website page in your browser, depending upon your device, you can make that website page like you can create a shortcut. So there is a button on your home screen that then will open the browser and go right to that website page. So if you would like to do something like that, you know, that's an option too. But we don't have like an app that you download from a store that functions separately from our website. There's just a lot more programming that goes into that. We may do that someday, but it's not something that we have right now. Okay, so let's dive in a little bit to the website here. So here's workamper.com. This is our main landing page. So when you come here, you can read through the information that we have here. We do have FAQ with some questions in there. If you scroll down, down here, you'll find a link to our blog, which you're welcome to take a look at. You can also go into our knowledge base. We have some basic articles available for anyone here in our knowledge base. So we do have some free information that you can peruse. But you'll want to get started by joining. So click Become a Workamper or Hire a Workamper. We have 3 different membership levels. One is free. The Seeker and the Pro have monthly or yearly membership options. It's really super cheap, guys. Like you can become a member for a year for $67 to have your resume out there working all the time, save job listings, stay connected, customize the job listings that are coming to you, and just like don't go out to eat one night in the year, and that'll cover the cost of your membership, right? So it's really not too expensive. But if you did just want to do it on a monthly basis, you're not really sure yet, or you just want to do job finding for a couple months a year, we do have a monthly option available to you guys now. So you can go through here. I'm not going to go through the benefits of each different level. If you go through this and you're still not sure what you want to do, feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to talk to you guys, but it's free to join. You just put in your name and email and get in there. You'll start receiving the daily hotline job listings via email. You won't be able to search and sort the job listings as a free dreamer, but all the listings will come to you in that email for sure. So all of our job listings are available for free. You don't have to pay to see job listings, but as I'll show you guys, we're more than just a website with job listings. We have a lot of like robust tools and stuff taking place. So that's why there is a fee, because I don't know how many of you are into programming, but it's very expensive. And just the hosting of all of this and sending emails costs money, and being able to call us costs money, and all the fun stuff of running a business. All those costs. Anyway, so once you become a member and you get logged in, you'll be taken to your dashboard page here. We're looking at the website right now as a pro level member. With that pro level, you'll have access to the resume tool. That's the main difference between Seeker and Pro, is the resume tool. So when you come in here, you can go to the job listings page. All of the job listings here have been posted within the last 2 weeks. So 153 job listings in the last 2 weeks, and we only publish on weekdays, so technically it's not even a full 14 days, it's actually less than that. So you won't find more job listings for Workampers anywhere. We still have the largest quantity here. So you can search up at the top, input a job location, or pick more than one state if you're looking for multiple states. You can do within a certain number of miles from a specific place. You can search on what month the job starts in. You can search on what type of compensation that you're looking for, if you want full-time or part-time job. What type of businesses do you want to work for? Again, here you can pick multiple ones that you want to search on. Lodging, if you need an RV site, or if you need other type of housing because you're not in an RV. You can do keyword searches. If you have pets, check the box for pets. If you're traveling with kiddos, check the box for families. If you're a solo work camper, or you are the only one that will be applying for jobs, even though there are other humans in your RV, you would be considered a solo, so you would check the solo box. So these are all criteria that you can easily search all of the job listings on. And with each job listing, there's a title. You'll always be able to tell when the ad is posted. We don't hide that from you guys, so you're left wondering, is this a couple days old? Is it years old? I know some other websites, you don't know. If the employer provided an address, there's a map here so you can see exactly where, in the state and what's nearby. So that's pretty cool. And then we have some other details that we've, just broken out. RV site, the max length, so you can better decide if your RV is going to fit there or not. Families welcome, pets allowed, and then the contact information will be here. So you will reach out to that employer directly via this contact info that they included. And if you do have a resume in our system, you can click this button here and pick which situation you want, type in a quick message, and boom, send your resume right to that employer. This is a feature. This is actually the new version of our website, you guys. We launched this back in November 2025. And so if you haven't been on the new version, there's a lot of really cool new features here that we're excited to bring you guys. So email your resume right from a job listing. You can also save job listings. And in your save jobs section, you can create your own custom categories. So create the category name, and then you can organize your job listings into those different categories. You can also add a note to any job listing that you saved, like maybe why you saved it or the action you took, like, you know, on this day I sent my resume, or on this day I called and left a voicemail, or make sure to call them next week, you know, on this date, things like that. So you can add notes there. So yeah, you can go through all the different job listings. There's, you know, some quick icons here to help you see, oh, okay, they do include an RV site, good. This one does have solos and pets are allowed, so I'm more likely to want to check it out. This one only has an RV site available. They're not going to consider solos. They're not going to consider pets. They're not going to consider families. So, you know, you may be able to easily exclude opportunities just by looking at some of the basic info that we have here. The key for what those little icons are is somewhere on this page. It used to be anyway. Oh, here it is. Show icon key. All right, there's our little icon key for you guys. You can also save your searches. So once you plug in, you know, that you want a full-time job in Alabama with an RV site, you can click on the save button to save that search, Alabama jobs. And we'll save that. So now next time I come to the job listings page, I can go up here and I can be like Alabama jobs, and it's going to autofill. And I've got this other one, summer search. So here's my summer search, and then boom, search on that, and it'll bring up the listings if there are any that do match. Let's see if there are any for Alabama. Search. Okay, so 4 job listings. These ones here, the tan ones with the star, you guys, these are our featured employers, and anyone visiting our website or our Dreamer level members can always look at our featured employers. And so you'll have the basic information in their job listing, but then you can go to the profile. And let's talk a little bit here about the profile. So employers control their profiles. They put stuff in here other than the review section. So AGS is one of our featured employers. They have the ability to put more information on their profile, so they have quite a bit here. AGS is one of those entities that does the campground map ads and more. So they have a traveling job, so that's why their location requires travel, and then all the states are listed because they have opportunities in all those states. So you can read through here to get more information. You can look at any photos that have been uploaded, any videos that have been put on the profile, and then reviews are in here as well. And the reviews are what I talked about before, where work campers who have completed a job with an employer can come into the system and share about what their experience was like working for that employer. So that way other work campers can then, you know, get that information easily from the profile. So profiles are cool. You can see those right from the job listing, or you can also come on the left in the navigation here and go to employer profiles and reviews. And, you know, even if you haven't seen a job listing, you know, you're like, well, I'm kind of interested in Cal-Am resorts. They're in Arizona, maybe for summer. Oh, that should have come up here. Let me try that again. There we go. Oh, it's Cal-Am properties, not Cal-Am resorts. That's why it didn't come up. So then I can click here, and here's their profile as well. So you can search for employers here or just go to their profile right from their job listing. And then let's pop in here over on the left. We're going to click on saved job listings. And this is that section that I was talking about, guys. Once you save the job listings, they'll be here in your saved section, and you can do searches in your saved section. You can rearrange and create new categories, get rid of categories. You can move the job listings between different categories. You can look at them. Of course, if I just click on the eyeball over here, that'll open up the job listing. And most job listings are posted on our website. The employers run for 2 weeks at a time. So the employer decides if they want 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever. So, but if you save the job listing into your saved section, you will have access to it as long as you keep your membership active. So even if the ad expires off of our job listings page, you will still have it here in your saved section for your reference. So then again, we can easily edit it, and here's my notes that I put. I can add more notes here once I talk to the employer again and save that. So yeah, it's just another way for you guys to kind of keep track of the opportunities you're interested in. And that's another reason why I said you want to stay engaged all the time. So even if you're working a job and you're like, I'm not really seeking actively another position yet, if something comes through the hotline system, you can pop on the website, save it to your save section. So that way, when you are ready to engage and look for that next opportunity, you've created a little list already for you to start from. And that just kind of makes things easier and starts things off well. With job alert emails, you can turn these on for the specific states that you want to work in. So as soon as a new job is posted for Alabama, I'm going to get an email that says, here's the new job posted for Alabama, and the complete job listing is in the email. We don't do that thing where we truncate it and just put a link to our website, and then you have to go to our website and dig around and try to find it. That's really annoying. We don't like when other people do that. So we put the full job listing in the email, whether it's the job alert email or our main daily hotline jobs email. The evening hotline jobs email has all of the new ads from that day in the email itself. If you're a Dreamer level member, you will see the job listings that were posted 14 days ago. So Seeker and Pro members, you get the new job listings for that day. Dreamer level members, you will get the job listings, but on a delay. But you still get all of the job listings via that email. So for job alerts, those are really cool. If you know you're looking for a specific state, you can turn on those job alerts to be among the first to know about the new opportunities that are posted. And then the resume builder tool, I just mentioned a little bit here. So it's an easy step-by-step tool to build your resume geared towards work camping. Once you have it created in here, you can make it available in our database that employers can then search, or you can send it out via email. You can print it out if you want to do a printout copy, or export it to a PDF file if you then need to upload it in an online application process, or you can attach it to an email out of your personal inbox if you want to do your emailing just from your personal email account instead of sending it through our system. But if you do send it through our system, we will keep track of it for you. So when you email your resume from here, you can email it to anybody. It doesn't have to be an employer that's in our system. You can email your resume to anybody. You just need to put the email address in here in the to box, fill out some other fields, but we'll keep track of it. So you'll have your resume send log in here, and it'll show you who you sent your resume to and when. And then we also provide whether the email was opened or not. The read receipts are not 100% accurate. Some email providers don't provide that read receipt for us to then show you that it was read. So it's not a guarantee, but so even if it says unread, they may still have got it. That's what I'm trying to say. And then if we click on show, that's going to tell me the message that I included when I emailed that employer. And again, I can add some more notes here. Here's my note, followed up on whatever day, or this step in the hiring process, or whatever, and you can save your notes in there. So again, just trying to give you guys some tools to help you keep track of your job finding process and stay engaged. We do recommend following up with employers after you have done your first inquiry with them, just to make sure that they received your voicemail or your email or your submitted application on their website, whatever. Because sometimes email, especially emails can get blocked or put in spam or something like that. So if you don't hear back from an employer within a reasonable amount of time, definitely go ahead and follow up. We have some other tools in here. I don't need to get into a full walkthrough. When you guys join and go to the dashboard, well, when you join, you're shown the overview video, but you can also always get to the overview video here on the dashboard. And if you watch that video, it'll walk you through the main tools of your membership, so you can check it out. And there's lots of cool stuff on this dashboard page here too. We show you, your resume stats, how many times you've sent it, how many views you have, and the views will display by month over time, the longer you have your resume active. We have some upcoming events, the Q&A today. We have some jobinars coming up for the sugar beet harvest. You can see some recent job listings, a recent blog post. We put lots of articles in our blog, which I'll talk about when we get into some of our other questions. Our recent podcast episodes, some interesting stats. So yeah, definitely kind of peruse that dashboard too. But we won't dig into too many other tools. But if you guys do have specific questions on like using the different tools of the website, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll definitely be glad to kind of walk you through each thing here. Okay, so let's see. We had a person who's on the webinar with us live. Hi, Donna. She says, do you need to update your resume with each job you do, or is that necessary? Okay, let's pop into the resume builder here. And this resume is a sample resume that we've already built. So the section here for job history, it's an optional section. You don't have to fill this section out. As far as what job history to put in here, you don't necessarily have to list, every job that you've done since you were 14 or 15 or whenever it was you started working. For jobs that are like, 10 years or older in your past, whether you include those on here, like include them if they relate to the types of positions that you're looking for. If that job gave you the skills that would be perfect for XYZ Workamping job that you want, then yeah, go ahead and put it in there. But employers may or may not spend a whole lot of time looking at all of the things on your resume. The resume is really just kind of a quick snapshot, a quick introduction to who you are. It's not necessarily a full, complete overview of everything that you've ever done. So don't feel like you have to, put a whole lot in here. But anything that you've done within the last, 10 years or so is probably good to have, or even 5 years if you would want to limit it to that. But yeah, the most recent job history, I definitely would include on your resume. And you can also, when you're adding job history, you pick which person on your resume it's for, and then you can put that it's a completed job. So you'll put your start date and your end date, or if it's the job you're currently working, you would just put the date that you started, and then it would show as the current job that you're working. So yeah, I would definitely include the positions that you've done most recently within the last few years, 5 years, 10 years. Beyond 10 years, again, you may or may not want to include it. It just depends on how much history you want to show on your resume. We have some Workampers that have at least 20, 25 different job history entries for each of them, just because they've been Workamping for so many years. And some folks will do, shorter stints, maybe 2 months or 3 months. And so they'll get multiple, like 3 jobs done or 4 jobs done in a year. And so within 1 year, boop, 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 they'll have 4 entries in there. And so, yeah, if it's within the last few years, I would definitely include that on your resume, especially if that job gave you skills that would apply to the jobs that you want to apply to. Let's see, and one other question from our PowerPoint that we hadn't got to yet, but the person said that they've created a resume in the system and they were wanting to know how to download it. And so once you've completed the requirements, which that's here on the home page, you guys, there are 3 requirements that you got to fill out. So applicant housing and skills section, and at least 1 situation wanted. So you got to make sure those sections are filled out. And then the situation wanted is pretty cool. It's a little tricksy at first, but once you understand it, you're like, oh, okay. So with the situation wanted section, you can put in your preferences for each different time frame that you want to work for. So when you're in your resume here, you can put in that you want to work, April through September for the summer. And then once that's over, for October through March, then I have different areas that I want to be in, and maybe I want to make money in the summer, but in the winter I'll just work and trade for an RV site or something like that. So with the situation wanted, you can input different time frames and then your preferences and your objective for that particular time frame. So your resume can be working for you for next summer season, for next fall season, or for spring and then summer and then fall, or kind of however you guys want to decide, you know, your lifestyle and how you want to work your different jobs throughout the year. So the situation wanted is pretty cool. Most work campers just come in here and have one situation wanted for one time frame. They're just focused on one time frame at a time, and that's totally cool too, but you need to at least have one in here where it's, you know, gives your availability dates, what type of compensation you're looking for, etc. So once you have applicant housing skills and one situation wanted entry, then you can view your resume, send your resume, export your resume. So this person was asking how to export it, so we click on export. You pick which situation wanted entry that you want to include. If I'm applying to a summer job, I'm going to pick my situation wanted entry that is for the summer months. If I'm applying for the winter, you know, etc. Or you can put all of them on there and they'll all display, and that's cool too. So you got to pick that and then click OK, and it'll give you the PDF version. Okay, so in Safari here, it opened in another tab, and then I can click on the button to download. This is going to function a little bit differently depending upon your device, your internet browser, etc. But you can get that PDF version. But this is what the resume looks like to employers, whether they're looking at it from the database, whether you're sending it to them, etc. It puts your main photo up here, the names, and you'll see it's, you know, each section that you guys fill out in the builder, it's taking that data and putting it into this nice format. So here are our couple, you know, situation wanteds for each of the 2 different seasons that we're looking for. Here's the skills we indicated, some additional info that we filled in, and then our job history here. And we'll also verify work camping jobs that you guys have completed within the last 3 years. And you just click a button in your job history section to request verification. You give us the name, email address, phone number of who to contact. We contact that employer and we say, hey, did Jane Doe work for you from this date to this date? And if the employer says, yep, they did, then we will mark that work history entry as verified. And so that's kind of another way to help your resume stand out a little bit. You're taking some of the legwork away from the employer. In that, you know, a third party has already verified that, yes, you did these jobs and accomplished them. They may still contact references, which we'll see down here. There's a references section. You guys can also upload reference letters for your reference section to go in there. And there we go. Okay, we'll go back to that. So references, and then below references are the rest of our photos. So we recommend maybe a couple headshots, a photo of your full RV, any pets that you have. When you're adding photos to your resume, please try to not have sunglasses on, hats on. Don't have this big photo where it's like all landscape and then you're this little person in the middle and you can't even really see you. It's a really pretty picture, but you know, the employer wants to see you. And photos are optional, you guys. You don't have to put photos on your resume if you don't want to. So yeah, that's a little bit more detail on the resume builder there. We do have a walkthrough video of the resume builder tool. We don't have the button on here for it yet, but we'll have that soon. But if you do want that video, just shoot us a quick email and we can send you the link to the video, and it kind of walks through each step of the builder and kind of how to use it and how to do it. So, all right, that is a crash course on some of the tools here. Hopefully that just kind of gives you an introduction. Let me point out just one more section here called the knowledge base. And this is open to everybody just visiting our website, but then members have additional articles. But if we go in the work camper category, then there are different topics: finding and landing jobs, resumes, taxes, domicile, insurance, living the lifestyle. So we cover a lot of topics here, a lot of different articles and stuff in here. The Work Camping Basics is open to anybody, so definitely come in here to get more details on different aspects of the lifestyle. Okay, let's hop back over to our PowerPoint and see where we're at with our questions. Okay, That was our resume question that we answered. All right, so next up, okay, we're getting out of talking about the tools and getting back a little more into the lifestyle here. So this person said, what's the number one I should be aware of? And I'm guessing just maybe the number one thing about the lifestyle to be concerned about. So it's going to vary by person, really. I don't know that there's one specific thing that would apply to all. I guess really the only thing I could think of is just making sure that the job opportunity is one that's a match for you. And making sure that you're doing your due diligence to get all of the information that you need. Make sure you understand what your schedule is going to be, what the compensation is going to be, and make sure that's clear. If you are receiving wages, are you receiving that weekly, bi-weekly, monthly? Is it direct deposit? Is it check, etc.? Is there any deductions that would be taken out of your paycheck? Like if you are paying for an RV site, then is that payroll deducted, or you know, go into the office and write them a check. So again, just lots of kind of little things to figure out, and what's important to you will be different than what's important to somebody else. You know, knowing where your RV site is going to be on the property. Is it, you know, right next to the sewer fields, or is it in a cove with a bunch of trees and you're someone who really needs satellite, and so the trees would be a hindrance for you? So again, just doing your due diligence to make sure that all your boxes are checked as best as possible, and listen to your gut on whether it feels right or not. You know, some work campers are like, well, it really seems perfect, but the employer just won't answer my calls and they're not answering my emails. And it's like, okay, if they can't even communicate with you at the start before you're even there, how is the communication going to go while you're at the job? You know, so again, it's people. So there will be good ones and there will be bad ones, of course. And you know, we all get along with different personalities in different ways. So yeah, so just try to get as much information as you can. If you are applying, you may interview with somebody who's not going to be like your direct manager or supervisor. You may want to request to see if you can have a phone call with your direct manager or supervisor, just to try and get a feel for who they are as a person, since that's the one you're going to be working with all the time. You know, you may or may not get an okay to do that, but that's something else that you can ask for, again, just to try to get as much information as possible. So yeah, okay, we'll keep going. All right, these folks say, will our resume be pushed aside since we have no work camping experience? And no, not necessarily. Most of these opportunities are pretty entry-level positions. If a position does require specific experience or a more professional experience in something, oftentimes the employer will indicate that in their ad, and that would be more for like management type positions, or if it's an entity, maybe it's like a new RV park or an RV park that's expanding and they're like building a new section. And so they're looking for people with like plumbing certifications and electrician's licenses and stuff like that. So in those cases, you might need to have more specific experience, but oftentimes employers will train folks. And so again, just think about what you've done in your past life. Even, you know, stay-at-home moms have a bajillion skills. It's not necessarily just what you did at work jobs that you've done. Like, what did you do in your community, at your church, other groups that you were a part of? You probably have maybe some soft skills or hard skills that could apply to these positions. So think about your life as a whole and what you've done, and just do your best to kind of highlight those skills in your communications when talking with that employer. And most employers are just looking for folks that have a positive attitude and they're willing to try hard, willing to be a little bit flexible. And yeah, so no, don't go into it. And I've seen that a little bit on some resumes. You know, in the resume, they start the resume with, well, we don't have any experience, but we'd like to try this. Is that the best way to start your resume? You know, like let's not highlight that. We don't need to highlight that we're brand new. If you do want to highlight that you're brand new, you know, a more positive way to say something like that would be like, we're really excited to get into this lifestyle, to try new things. We are sponges ready to suck up the knowledge and do our best to run your operation how you want it to be run. you know, something like that. So you're more so playing to what does the employer want instead of just being like, well, I may not be any good at this, but hopefully you'll look at me kind of attitude. Just think about your wording a little bit when you're sending emails and communicating. Also, too, you may want to put a resume together, whether it's on our site or just on your own device, and then send your resume out to a few of your friends or a couple family members or something and just get their opinion. Be like, hey, how did this strike you? You know, is there something here that could be worded differently or better, etc. Okay. Next question here. These people say, we have a dog. Does that disqualify us? Most likely, no. It may from some positions. Again, it's going to depend on the employer. Like we saw on the job listings page, we do have that pets welcome checkbox, so you can easily search the job listings for employers that do welcome pets. Some employers may have limitations as to breed types or number of pets in the RV. There may be like a maximum. I believe going back to the concessionaires that operate in the national parks, you know, they're leasing the RV sites from the National Park Service. So those entities have to follow National Park Service rules as far as what's okay and not okay in those RV sites that are being leased. So there are, you know, some limitations and stuff in that regard. Certain entities may have an insurance policy where they can't have certain breeds of dog on property or certain types of animals on property maybe, so it could be an insurance thing. But most work campers, there are more work campers that travel with pets than don't. So no, it wouldn't disqualify you. You definitely want to be upfront when you are communicating with employers. Make sure that employer understands all of the living creatures that are in your RV. So if you are traveling with other humans or dogs, pets, dogs, cats, birds, pigs, chickens, parrots, we've seen an assortment of critters. You want to be upfront about who you are, what your house on wheels is, and who lives in it. So that way you don't end up in a situation where you're not welcome, okay? We don't want you traveling somewhere and then you have to go somewhere else. It's too expensive to have to deal with that. So be upfront from the beginning, and if that employer is a no-go, then you know that's not right for you and you're not meant to be there, and you need to keep on going with your job finding process to find the one that will be right for you. Okay. More questions here. Do employers allow car camping either as part of the compensation or for a fee? So this is going to depend. We don't right now, like when an employer submits a job listing, they do answer a bunch of questions, but right now we don't have like a checkbox whether or not they'll allow like car or tent camping. There are some employers that will, I've seen say that will, and there probably are maybe more that won't. So, and it also depends too if the employer has the facilities on site to accommodate you. So you would need to look for employers that have the bathhouse, shower house, maybe even laundry facilities and stuff on site. So that way you can take care of your humanness, you know. So some employers will not be okay with that because, you know, they want their work campers to be comfortable and safe at all times. And so for them, that may mean the RV needs to be hard-sided. The RV needs to have heating and cooling. The RV needs to have plumbing, running water, holding tanks, etc. There are different, you know, different employers will have different lengths that they will accept and not accept. So I'm sorry, there's not like an easy way to be like, here's the ones for you, just because it does vary so much. So yeah, there will be some, but probably more not. And again, there are just some employers that don't have shower houses, bathhouses, and stuff on site. So if you are doing car camping, tent camping, if you have a pop-up, something like that, then you may need to look more specifically in the campground realm or those employers that have RV sites, provided that also have like the shower houses and stuff too. Like Bolin Travel Centers comes to mind. I know they have facilities at some of their travel centers for their work campers and their They're workers. I'm trying to think what else. So yeah, they're out there, but it will be harder to find. Kind of similar questions here. Are there ever full-time or part-time positions in Arkansas that provide housing? Yes, there have been a handful. I took a look in our database. We had a couple like B&B, hotel, lodge places that had some opportunities where housing was provided. Can you be a work camper if you are staying in a cabin? Technically, you wouldn't fall under our definition of a work camper, because to us, a work camper is anyone who does any kind of work while living in an RV. A stationary cabin on an employer's property is not an RV, so technically no, but in the work camping community, we see about 10% of the job listings that are coming through indicate that housing is available. So there's a small percentage of employers that do advertise to the work camping community that have housing. But other sites, probably more like a coolworks.com is one that is more of the seasonal work and stay, like working at the ski resorts and working at travel lodges and places like that, where there's like dormitories and housing built specifically for staff because it's a seasonal operation, and so they don't have enough staff in the local vicinity, so they have to bring staff in and house them there to do their operating season. So businesses like that will more so likely have those types of housing available, but it's not a big percentage in the work camping community. Since most work campers are traveling in RVs, most employers anticipate that the work camper will be coming in either motorhome, fifth wheel, travel trailer, truck camper, something like that. Hard-sided, holding tanks, hopefully, heating, plumbing, refrigerate your food, you know, be able to manage bathroom things and food and stuff like that, and being safe in the weather. That's another component as well. And in some places, being safe from wildlife, bears and elk and wolves and other, you know, critters, things like that. Alrighty, next up here. Okay, this person's wondering, how much should you have in savings before beginning your work camping journey? $1,265.87. No, that was an arbitrary number. This will depend on you. How much debt do you have? Are you paying off student loans? Are you making a car payment? Are you making an RV payment? How much does your health insurance cost? Do you have health insurance? What other, you know, incidental things are you paying for, you know, cell phone and subscriptions and other, you know, things like that. So it depends on what your income and your outgo is. There are, you know, we're not financial advisors. I've listened to some, you know, I love podcasts and reading books and stuff like that. So I hear different things from different sources. You know, some of the gurus will say you want to have X number of months of money in your savings. You know, like if your monthly outgo is like $2,000, then you want to have like $6,000 in savings, so that way you could cover your expenses for 3 months if you had to, if something went, you know, dramatically wrong. And different gurus will say a different number of months you should have in that emergency fund. And you never know too with RVs. Some of them work awesome, and then sometimes they become just this pit of awful maintenance nightmares. And so that can really vary too. So as far as how much you have in savings, it's going to vary. If you do start work camping and you don't have any savings and you need to make a lot of income, this might be a little bit more challenging. There are, you know, opportunities that will pay some quote unquote higher wages. Maybe you get into, you know, management positions. Some things like that might be up on a higher income amount. But again, these are entry level positions. So more than likely you're looking at, you know, somewhere minimum wage, $15, $16, $20 an hour, kind of somewhere in there as far as how wages go. So yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have a specific answer for this question. It really kind of depends on you and what you're comfortable with. And some of us feel more comfortable with different amounts. Like some people might be like, I'm not okay unless I have X number of dollars in my bank account. And if you're that kind of person, then maybe you want to buffer that a little bit before embarking on the lifestyle. If you're someone who's like, I've lived paycheck to paycheck forever and been just fine, then maybe you don't, and you just go off, and that's cool, and that works for you, and you have peace of mind about it. So I guess that's really kind of the main answer, is whatever gives you the most peace and keeps you anxiety free. But I would, recommend having a little bit in there, at least a few $1,000 in case something with the RV, you need to get new tires. That's a pretty big expense that can come up and stuff, because it's oftentimes quite a few tires to have to replace at one time. And if you have a motorhome and you're towing a vehicle, then you have 2 engines and vehicles to maintain, and those things might go kabooey, at any point in time. Not saying that trailers don't have their own set of issues, but I know some folks only do trailers because they don't want the whole 2 engine thing. They just want to have one moving vehicle and have their trailer. So it's really kind of different for everybody. Okay, next question here. Are there Christian ministry related workamping jobs? The answer is yes. And let me pop back over to my internet browser here. Okay, so this website here is our blog. So again, if you go to workamper.com, you'll find the blog link way down here at the bottom, or you can just go to workamper.com/blog. And we have this little search button here. So if we type Christian, let's see what that gives us. Faith on the road. And I know this is one I was looking for. RV chaplains, how workampers are bringing faith on the open road. So this is one entity that exists. It's called Christian Resort Ministries, and they hire folks to be, chaplains to perform and facilitate, ministry services at different campgrounds and RV parks. And so that's one entity, Christian Resort Ministries. They run ads with us sometimes. They've done a podcast, I believe, and we've also had them in the magazine. So that's one option. Now, if we go back to our member portal here, we do have our magazine archive. So Workamper News from 1987 to 2022, we published a physical publication that we mailed out to our members. Because again, Workamper News started before the internet. So it started as a physical publication. We did discontinue the magazine in 2022 because people were getting too confused. It was too cumbersome for them to see job listings in a magazine and have job listings on a website, because they were technically too different, and some employers use this one, some employers use the other, some employers use both, and it was just, our culture now is getting so narrow and needing just short little quick burps and needing things done for them and needing things to be easier and simpler. So that's why we discontinued that, and because the costs went up 45% in a couple months to publish the magazine. So anyway, but the magazine archive is still a really good resource. Obviously, in each issue, there are articles about workamping jobs, RV lifestyle, different stuff like that. But also in each issue, there are job listings. So this is another source if you're looking for somewhere like very specific, or you really need a specific kind of wage or something. I would not hesitate to, I'm just trying to get to the job listings. Here we go. To look at past issues of our magazine, you can, look, the job listings are organized by state, so you can go to whatever pages, the state is you want to be in and look at the job listings there. Even if the employer isn't actively advertising now, if the business is still open, they're likely still hiring work campers. We have employers that are with us for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Some of them have been with us like the whole time, 30 some years. And so, yeah, even though these listings are older, they still may be an opportunity that would be right for you. So I wouldn't hesitate to look through past issues, even for job opportunities. But the main reason that I came in here is to show you guys a couple magazines where we highlighted some of these entities. So we can do a search over here. So I searched on the word Christ. And here's the January, February 2015 issue. Sojourners is another entity where you volunteer, and I think they go and work on churches and help upkeep churches. So you can read about that there. And then this is an even older issue from 2009, Laborers for Christ. So there are certainly entities that are out there, and probably just doing some Google searches. Sorry, I didn't have time to do that ahead of time. May connect you with others, just, you know, volunteer, ministry related, RV, caravanners, etc. But I'll make a note to do another article on that in the future. So check out the magazine archive and then visit workamper.com/blog, and you can find some other options here as well. Just, you know, do some keyword searches on different things, whether you're looking for those types of jobs or there's another question coming up too. It's actually the next question, so I'm just going to hit on that now. So the next question in the PowerPoint, you guys, is what do RVers do about mail as they're traveling around? So here in our blog, I'm going to search on mail, and that's going to bring up our article on mail forwarding, how to get mail when you live in an RV and travel around. So that's an article here on our blog. We also cover it in our knowledge base. But most often, especially if you're a full-time RVer and you don't have a home base, like a physical residence anymore, most RVers will use mail forwarding services. And that is here, paid mail forwarding services. They can help you with establishing your domicile, which is your resident state, basically, where you have your driver's license, where you're voting, you know, get your insurance and all that stuff for that specific state. So most of these entities exist in states that don't have state income tax, like South Dakota, Texas, etc. But oftentimes you can find one in the area that you want to have your address in. You know, like myself and my husband, when we were full-time RVers, there was a service here right in our small town here in Arkansas that we could use, and they would forward our mail for us, and we use that as our address and stuff. But there are a few links to a few in here: your best address, fast forward remail in Florida. Scapies RV Club has a mail forwarding service. So you can read more about that here in this article at workamper.com/blog. You could also have your mail go to a trusted friend or family member, but that is, as long as they're okay with it and cool with it. Some folks may think of that as a burden to their friend and family member, so they don't want to put that burden on them. Again, it depends on your relationship. The post office will do some kind of forwarding, so you can read a little bit more about that. Maybe you just, you know, keep your existing, especially if you have a physical house, you may be able to just get the forwarding done through the post office. So it kind of depends on your setup too. If you're a full-time RVer and you don't have a home base, you may need to do it this way. If you still have a physical home base and an address there, you may be able to do it this other way. So it kind of depends on where you're starting from. But this article will give you more details and help you decide on which avenue will be right for you there. All right, let's pop back over to our PowerPoint here. So this was the question that we were just talking about. What do RVers do about mailing addresses? All right, I think we got one more here. Okay, so this person asked, will we do the Workamper Rendezvous again? And the Workamper Rendezvous was a live conference event that we did from 2012 to 2019. And we would do it annually here in Heber Springs, Arkansas. We have a really great community center and a lot of really nice Corps of Engineer campgrounds and stuff in our area. So we would bring in expert presenters on the RV lifestyle and do, you know, seminars, and we would have meals together, do some roundtables and some other stuff. A few times we had employers come in person. Sometimes they'd just come in via webinar and talk about different work camping jobs and recruiting and stuff. So it was a lot of fun. But it was also a lot of work. So initially, COVID scrapped it for 2020. We were going to do it in 2020, but then, of course, you know, things went awry. And then since then, we just haven't had the capabilities to do it. So right now on staff, it's myself and my husband and one other full-time gal, Laura, and then we have a part-time gal, Sandra, who helps us with some things. So and we've been doing the new website build and getting all of that done. And so we just don't have the manpower to accomplish it at this time. We may do it again someday when we have more staff and more capability, but I'm sorry, we don't have plans to do it again for now. But we do I want to get back into doing some more webinars, you know, and bringing some people in to do webinars and stuff. We used to do that more, so I'm looking to get back more into doing that. So we may be able to continue providing that kind of education, just, you know, in an online format, not an in-person format, but maybe someday. It's not a no, but not yet. Okay, those were all the questions that were submitted ahead of time. So thanks again, everyone, for putting your questions in. Hopefully, I gave you guys a pretty good rundown of things and some details, or at least where to go to get more details. Again, workamper.com is our online home. You know, you can check out all of our resources and become a member there. So those of you who are online live with us, thanks for hanging in with me. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to type those in. I know we've gotten a couple here while we've been going, but yeah. If you have that control panel there on your screen, you can type into that control panel. If you're on a smartphone or tablet, you should have the option on the bottom of your screen. There's my tablet tapping on the bottom to type in your question here. Okay, we had one question come in talking about the resume builder. So let's pop back into the resume tool. Okay, we'll go back here, resume. Okay, and this attendee says, the skills section does not allow enough entries. I couldn't get past food handling. So yeah, so the skills section, we have it set up to do 15 skills per person. Again, your resume is just an introduction to you. It's not supposed to be like the complete picture of this is who I am and everything that I've ever done ever. So as far as selecting the skills go, you want to indicate the skills that you have that most likely apply for the positions that you want to go after, and the, you know, things that you're best at and things that you like to do. So even if you maybe have cleaning or maintenance experience, you know, maybe don't list that as a skill if you don't want to do a cleaning or housekeeping position. Or maybe you know how to run a zero-turn mower, or you have heavy equipment machinery experience, but that's not really something you want to do in the future. Like, yes, it's a skill you have, but let's not put it on the resume because it's not something that you want to keep doing in the future. So this is just a quick kind of snapshot. You can also, in your job history, you can indicate the duties and what you did in each position, and that is also going to show an employer what you're capable of and what you have done in the past. And then in the more details section as well, you can talk about what you did before work camping, and then this additional information field here to give even a little more details into what you've done or what you really excel at and like to do. And then also in the situation wanted section here, there's the what is your objective for the situation wanted. So here as well, in your verbiage where you talk about, you know, what you're seeking with that opportunity, you can throw in some stuff in here as well. Like, you know, my previous experience with doing reservations and interacting with guests has really given me the skills and experience to enhance a campground operation. And I'm really looking forward to doing that for you as well in the future, or something, you know, kind of fuzzy like that. So those are some avenues where you can work in a little bit more about your experience and what you bring to the table. You can also do that too when you're sending your resume, and there's this message to the employer that'll display in the email that's sent to the employer. So in here also you can, you know, highlight what you really bring to the table and what you can do for that employer to make their life easier and make their operation better overall. So yes, the skills list is not super long, because otherwise then it would end up like, if we made it unlimited, oh boy, that the resume format would get a little long. It's already pretty long, and it would be even longer. So that's why we did limit it to 15 this time. We may change that in the future, but at this point it is at 15. And so that, again, just kind of your upper level top main skills that you bring to the table. When employers are searching the resume database, they do have the option to search on that skills field. They have quite a variety of different fields to search on. So I can't say, we don't have the tracking yet in place. I don't know exactly what employers are plugging into those search fields, so I can't say for sure that every time an employer goes to the resume database, they're they're putting skills in that skills field and searching on it. You know, a lot of them probably aren't. Most of them are probably going, you know, what state and what time frame, and kind of starting from there, and probably not being as super specific about it. It's going to depend on the employer though. But yeah, that was a good question. Okay. Last call for any other questions here, or we'll go ahead and get things wrapped up for this month. But lots of good input, you guys. I really appreciate the questions, and we're happy to answer more. You can go to the support page anytime on our website here. I have the live chat on oftentimes during the day while we're here in the office. You can live chat with us. You can always email us, give us a call. We're open 8 to 4:30 Central Time, Monday through Friday, but oftentimes I'm checking email through the weekends anyway, so you may be able to get a hold of me over the weekend as well. Awesome. All right, well, hopefully this was a good little crash course on getting started work camping. And again, you know how to find us if you guys have any other questions. But we hope you'll become a member, and hopefully we can help you find awesome work camping jobs to support your travel lifestyle. All right, well, thanks so much, you guys. We appreciate you all, and safe travels.